We want to begin now with some breaking news. Rapper Lil Durk.
For the bond hearing for my son, for the release for the third time. This time it was very fair. The judge was very fair. He wasn't pro-prosecutor. He wasn't pro-defense, but he was pro-justice.
Nobody saw this coming. Not the fans, not the bloggers, not even the people who thought they already knew everything about the OTF situation. But when new paperwork started circulating online, it felt like a bomb had been dropped on the entire rap world. The documents didn't point to a street guy or a shooter or somebody living wild. They pointed to someone nobody expected, Lil Durk's own manager. And what the feds claimed he did shook everybody. According to the information floating around, federal agents believe OTF credit cards, yes, the same cards tied to Durk's circle, were used to buy one-way plane tickets for a group of guys connected to a planned hit. One-way flights to a specific city at a specific time, all lined up perfectly around a shooting that went terribly wrong. People instantly started asking, how does a music manager end up in something like this? Was he aware? Did he think he was just booking travel? Or was he part of something bigger? The internet exploded with theories, but the feds didn't care about online opinions. They cared about hard evidence. Card numbers, timestamps, travel records, and communications between everyone involved. And the craziest part? The manager's home was reportedly hit by federal agents, a civilian house, a regular household, raided because it was connected through paperwork to the travel used by the alleged killers. This wasn't just a street story anymore. This was a federal investigation stretching from Chicago to California, touching rappers, managers, Airbnb rentals, podcast crews, and credit card statements. It started looking less like a rap beef and more like a real organized operation that someone tried to hide behind music business activity. People kept repeating the same words. How did we get here? Because when a manager gets pulled into the middle of a murder-for-hire investigation, you know something went horribly wrong. And this was only the beginning, because the story didn't start with the flights. It started with a phone call, one that changed everything. The entire situation traces back to one moment, a single phone call, late night, unexpected, and full of information nobody should have had. According to what's been said, a longtime associate from California reached out to the team with a message that immediately raised alarms. The target was in town. No warning, no buildup, just a simple call that set everything in motion. The person on the other end wasn't some random fan. He allegedly had real connections, knew certain people from the neighborhood, and kept tabs on movements that regular folks don't pay attention to. He made the call, dropped the location, and hung up, quick, clean, like someone who had done this before. After that, everything started moving fast. Within minutes, phones were ringing, names were being mentioned, roles were being assigned. You could almost picture the panic and excitement blending together as word spread through the circle. This wasn't a planned mission. It was a reaction, a sudden opportunity. And everyone involved seemed to understand exactly what was being asked, without anyone needing to say it directly. One person was told to assemble a team. Another was told to get transportation. Someone else was asked to track the target's movement. Everyone played their part without hesitation. It was like watching puzzle pieces click into place, each one perfectly fitting the next. And yet, behind all that confidence, there was something hiding: confusion, miscommunication, and a decision that would later blow back on everyone, bringing a civilian, a music manager, into the process. This wasn't just a group of street guys acting on impulse. The first stop wasn't a hotel. It wasn't a studio. It wasn't anything normal. They went straight to an Airbnb, a house rented under the manager's name, using the same system the team always used for business trips. To outsiders, it looked like a harmless travel arrangement. To the feds, it would later become another crucial piece of the chain connecting everyone involved. While the team settled in, another layer of the story began unfolding somewhere else. Lil Durk arrived in town around the same time, supposedly with a podcast crew. Whether this podcast session was already planned or arranged last minute still isn't clear. But what is clear is the timing. The crew showed up, cameras and equipment in hand, turning the Airbnb into a strange mix of business and something far darker happening behind the scenes. Meanwhile, Vonnie, one of the key people in the story, was out making purchases. Not the kind you buy before a show. Not clothes or jewelry. He bought ski masks, gloves, black outfits, and even rental cars that could move around quietly without drawing too much attention. It was the kind of preparation that would have looked suspicious to anyone paying attention. But inside the chaos of Los Angeles, it blended in like nothing out of the ordinary. The killers moved around the city carefully, following instructions, communicating in short, coded messages. They switched hotels, traveled through side streets, and used the rental cars to tail their target from a distance. Every hour, they got closer. Every minute increased the tension. From the outside, the operation looked smooth, but behind the scenes, confusion was growing. People weren't where they were supposed to be. Some didn't show up at the right time. Others lost track of the target. A few started panicking quietly, sensing the plan slipping through the cracks. And then, when they finally made their move, everything went wrong. The target had been moving around Beverly Hills all day, unaware that multiple cars had been quietly trailing behind him. The team followed from a distance, stopping when he stopped, pulling off when he pulled off, and keeping their faces hidden every time they got too close. For hours, they watched and waited for the moment they believed was coming. But the streets don't work like the movies. Nothing ever goes perfectly. And this operation was already slipping in ways nobody noticed. As night began to fall, the target stopped at a gas station. It was supposed to be the perfect moment. Isolated, quick, with little chance of witnesses. 3 members of the team stepped out of the car, approached slowly, and prepared to carry out the job they thought they were sent to do. But they made one mistake, one that changed everything. The man they approached wasn't the target. He only looked like him. Similar build, similar clothes. Wrong person, wrong time, wrong life taken. In an instant, everything spiraled. Shots were fired. Chaos erupted. A stranger was left dying, and the entire operation collapsed in seconds. The shooters sprinted back to the car, panicked, shouting over each other. The driver hit the gas before the doors fully closed. Tires screeched. Red lights blurred past. They didn't even have time to think. All they knew was that the mission had failed, and they needed to disappear fast. But escaping wasn't that simple. Once back at the Airbnb, panic took over. Phones rang non-stop. People argued about what to do next. Some wanted to run. Some wanted to separate. Some wanted to call family. Nothing felt safe anymore. And then, in the middle of the chaos, someone made the worst decision of the entire operation. They called the manager again. The same manager who bought the flights. The same manager whose name was tied to the Airbnb. The same manager who wasn't supposed to be involved at all. They asked him to book flights home immediately, one way, just like the first time. And with that one phone call, the final piece of the puzzle locked into place. A piece the feds would use to trace everyone involved, step by step. The fallout came fast. Federal agents didn't wait weeks or months. They moved in almost immediately. Flights bought with OTF credit cards, rental cars traced back to the Airbnb, phone logs showing last-minute calls. Everything lined up perfectly for investigators, and within days, they hit multiple locations at once. The shooters were already being watched, but what shocked everyone was who the feds visited next. The manager, a civilian home, early morning, flashlights, loud knocks, the kind of moment nobody forgets. He wasn't arrested, but the message was clear. He was now part of a federal timeline, whether he meant to be or not. And the truth is, this case isn't over. If anything, it's just beginning. If you want deeper breakdowns, real street timelines, and stories the internet never explains, right? Hit that like button, subscribe, and stay locked in. More details are coming soon.